P. Diddy. I'm sure most of you know that name, and I'm sure in recent times you've at least heard a little bit about the awful things he is accused of. P. Diddy has been a huge individual in the music industry for decades now, and with a lot of new information coming to light about his past as well as what he's been doing behind the scenes, a lot of people are comparing him to the Harvey Weinstein or the Epstein of the music industry. It's abhorrent stuff that's come to light. And in recent times, he's become known as the Diddler. And you don't want to fiddle with the diddle. P. Diddy's got a laundry list of extremely serious accusations, and he's embroiled in a ton of controversy as well as lawsuits, and there's just been a lot to keep track of with everything he's accused of. From car bombings to assault to abuse to sex trafficking. It's like he's trying to get the platinum trophy for crime. He's committed like every crime imaginable, allegedly. Have you heard the stories of the P. Diddy Defense Force? I imagine not. These bugs crawl around the deepest, darkest corners of Twitter, constantly trying to fight for the honor of Puff Daddy. These rotten scoundrels aren't paid for their services by P. Diddy to fight his PR battle for him or anything. The only thing they get paid in is a couple of updudes from other inmates of Arkham Asylum that join them on this crusade. The Puff Daddy Patriots have been in full force red alert because a lot of new evidence has come out about just how evil P. Diddy is and has been for years in the music industry. There's overwhelming evidence that has existed for a long time, as well as brand new discoveries that have really painted a picture of just how fucked up P. Diddy is and has always been. And the Puff Patriots have been trying to deny all of it for him. A lot of them just kind of default to like, oh no, women are lying manipulators, so these bunch of whores are trying to get an innocent man in trouble. And they're not a large number of people that do this, mind you, but having anyone that defends P. Diddy is incomprehensible to me. And now this group of goobers is swallowing a tough pill here because a video came out that not even they can defend. It's surveillance camera footage from 2016 in a hotel where P. Diddy chases down and then beats his ex, Cassie. Obviously, I can't show this video, but it is brutal. It is a disgusting thing to witness. And there is no trick photography here. There's not a deep-faked AI or anything like that. It is footage of P. Diddy mercilessly beating his then-girlfriend, which corroborates the abuse allegations that have been made against Diddy for a long time now. P. Diddy also came forward and issued an apology video today. He actually sat down and did a fucking YouTuber apology for this. Let's go ahead and take a peek.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
He hits rock bottom, he hits women, he hits crack pipes. There's nothing this guy won't hit. The way he immediately starts this apology video is so fucking phony baloney. It's so difficult to reflect on the dark times, but I've got the strength to do that because I'm built different, so I'm going to reflect on the most painful moments of my life. When it comes to strength, I'm like a Super Saiyan being able to sit down and talk about this. And then he goes on about how, it's inexcusable, he's not gonna make any excuses. Brother, your whole fucking career is built around making excuses for your abusive behavior and all the really fucked up shit you've done. And you are still constantly doing that. Even if it's not you directly making the excuses, you hire your fucking team of lawyers to do it for you to keep yourself out of jail. This is a guy that should have been locked up for life a long time ago.
I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
Turn yourself in then. You take full responsibility for it, you're that disgusted, walk to the nearest police station and turn yourself over. Although I'm not even sure if the police department would do anything about it. They issued this statement once the video started to go viral. They said, "We are aware of the video that has been circulating online allegedly depicting Sean Combs assaulting a young woman in Los Angeles. I've said this before and millions of people have said it millions of times before me. But the word allegedly does so much heavy lifting in this day and age, it's fucking crazy. I know why they use it in the legal sense, but we all just watched P. Diddy beat Cassie. And he himself came forward to confirm that it was him beating Cassie. and they still use the word allegedly. That is like actual Looney Tunes level cartoonish dog shit there. You can just drop that word. The video has been circulating online depicting Sean Combs assaulting a young woman. Like, there's no gray area here. He has confirmed it. Everyone can see it in the video, but whatever. We find the images extremely disturbing and difficult to watch, and the office added that it would not be able to take action against Combs. If the conduct depicted occurred in 2016, unfortunately, we would be unable to charge as the conduct would have occurred beyond the timeline where a crime of assault can be prosecuted. As of today, law enforcement has not presented a case related to the attack depicted in the video against Mr. Combs, but we encourage anyone who has been a victim or witness to a crime to report it to law enforcement or reach out to our office for support from our Bureau of Victim Services. Gotta tell you, sports fans, that bureau doesn't sound like it's doing a whole lot of service to the victims if it's going to say like, oh no, your assault, that took place way too long ago. Our hands are tied. We're not doing anything about that. Move on. Like, that's not exactly the best service to victims. How is someone going to come forward and be like, look, I got beat by my ex in this hotel, and it was a traumatic experience that I've been quiet about for so long out of fear for my life. Is there something we can do about it? And they just say, nope. Now, this isn't Cassie that's approaching them, by the way. Like, this video wasn't released by Cassie or her team, at least not from what I've been able to tell. I get the statute of limitations. Like, I do understand that in certain contexts, but when it comes to, like, assaults, like brutally beating women and just all kinds of things, like violent crimes, I would imagine there shouldn't really be an expiratory period there, like it's a fucking loaf of bread, like a Best Buy date, that you have to act within this window or else that's the end of it. Now it's kaput. He just gets away with it. I think it's super fucking stupid.
I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab.
Oh boy, I'm starting to tear up now. Yeah, this is some heavy stuff here, P. Diddy. This is tough. Would you like a side of French fries with that? Like, what the fuck, man? Why is he trying to summon the wambulance here? He tries to tell his own little sob story here about how it was so hard for him. Wah, wah, wah. I'm the real victim here, actually. It was tough for me, too. I highly fucking doubt he's done any therapy or any rehab or anything, because he has decades worth of allegations against him for these type of violent, abusive tendencies. And the allegations are backed by mountains of evidence and continue all the way to present day. So I highly doubt at any point in his life he's ever sought professional help for him being a violent maniac.
Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
It's so weird if he's that remorseful about the situation, why he didn't apologize back in 2016, why he tried to bury it to the best of his ability and deny all of the allegations and try and paint all of his accusers in the worst possible light to make it seem like they were untrustworthy and lying about the whole thing. It's so weird how all of a sudden now that the video is out there and it's irrefutable proof of all of these allegations made against him, that all of a sudden now he's got this real heavy burden on his shoulders and it's so disgusting and he's truly sorry for it. He's very apologetic. It's so odd that, like, now he's really apologetic about it, now that he's been caught. It almost seems really disingenuous to me. But anyway, P. Diddy is one of the most well-documented monsters in the music industry, and it is shocking that he still is not in prison. But with more and more evidence constantly coming to light about this guy, I'm optimistic that eventually justice will be served here. But anyway, just wanted to give you a little update to what's going on with P. Diddy here. The apology video, if I was to put that on the YouTuber apology tier list, that would be a strong F. Fucking terrible. Absolutely atrocious. That's about it. See ya. It's finally happening. P. Diddy has been arrested. Anything is possible! This is a moment for celebration. For so long, P. Diddy has gotten away with heinous crimes that tons of people knew about. From car bombs to assaults to sex crimes, it's like P. Diddy was going for some kind of high score, trying to catch every possible crime like a Pokemon. He has terrorized the music industry for decades and ruined so many lives. In recent times, the evidence against him to support all of the allegations that have existed for decades has been overwhelming and led to a large investigation against P. Diddy. and now it looks like we're reaching the climactic finale with him being arrested. When this story broke last night, the indictment was sealed, but this morning they said, open the gates. Let them see. To sum it up, he has been charged with sex trafficking by force, transportation to engage in prostitution, and racketeering conspiracy, alleging he ran an enterprise that engaged in sex trafficking, forced labor, or kidnapping, arson, and other crimes. He abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct from 2008 till now. The allegations mirror 11 civil complaints filed against him since 2023. Really, that's only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the P. Diddy lore. He is a horrible menace that has been around for decades. Also mentioned is that he had thousands of bottles of lube and baby oil that were seized from his home during those raids as part of his freak-off supplies. He also had tons of narcotics as well. So Diddy became infamous for his freak-off parties that would go on for days, where he'd force attendees to not only stay there and perform non-consensual sex acts in front of him, but he would just be pumping them full of drugs, and he would be watching while furiously masturbating like a coked-out goblin. So in relation to drug charges, he'd allegedly distribute cocaine, oxy, Xanax, GHB, MDMA, and ketamine. I'm going to be very brave here for a moment and say, that's not alleged, that is confirmed. The amount of drugs this guy had here, he was like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, but drugs instead of candy. The amount of freaky shit they found in his house must have been like entering a separate dimension. Thousands of bottles of lube, like so much lube it'd make Bad Dragon's headquarters jealous. Thousands of bottles of baby oil, more than Johnson & Johnson's warehouse probably. I wouldn't be surprised if they found the goddamn Death Note among those freak-off supplies. His legal team seems very optimistic that things are going to go well for P. Diddy. They even released a statement saying, "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office." Hi, Mark. The fuck is wrong with you, man? Are you serious? Like, I understand it's your job. I get that, but holy cannoli, an unjust prosecution, huh? So what if there's overwhelming evidence to support the decades worth of allegations against Mr. Combs here? And so what if there's that video of him brutally beating Cassie in that hotel? He said he's sorry. Did we forget about that? He apologized. Let's all move on from it. Racketeering? You're gonna try and come after him for racketeering? Mr. Combs' brain is so rotted from years of drug abuse, he can't even spell racketeering, much less engage in it. This is a load of hooey. It's unjust. A miscarriage of justice, even. He goes on to glaze him a little bit, sucking on his cock, calling him a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man, proven philanthropist. He then has the gall to say he's imperfect but not a criminal, and then says he's been nothing but cooperative with this investigation, and he voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. Please reverse your judgment until you have all the facts. These are the acts of an innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looks forward to clearing his name in court. See, that's the thing, Mark. People have all the facts because there's so much evidence with the facts. There is video evidence to support the facts. What do you mean? Again, I know he's just doing his job, but that shit is so shameless and foul. I don't know how you sleep at night when you have to defend someone that is obviously guilty like P. Diddy. It's fucking wild to me. P. Diddy, 31 minutes ago. Sean Combs arrested in Manhattan after grand jury indictment. They done caught the diddler. They also had that video drop of him beating the shit out of her recently. And then he released the apology video about it. It's always, like, I understand it's their job to defend their clients, but it's always just so crazy. A statement from Mr. Combs' legal team said that they are disappointed with the decision to prosecute him and noted that he had been cooperative with the investigation and had voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. Ugh. We're so disappointed that they're actually trying to hold him accountable. Like, we're really upset about that, actually. Yeah, there's overwhelming evidence to all of these awful, awful crimes that he's committed, including that video of him beating the shit out of the Cassie. But like, why would you? Like, I thought this was a free country. Why would you try and like punish him for that? I'm assuming the apology video didn't work. We don't know yet. We don't know. Maybe they'll send the apology video out to the powers that be, and they'll be like, "Wow, He is reformed. This is a good man. We can't punish him for... He's changed. He has changed so much. Look at this apology video and how sincere it is. We're dropping the charges.
I was up. I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Now, Combs,
It takes... I'm not going to show any of that. It's brutal. It takes a big man like Puff Daddy to take full responsibility after saying he's going to make no excuses and immediately starting the video with an excuse about hitting fucking rock bottom or whatever. Ah, man. A beacon of strength, really. It took a lot. A lot of courage for that apology video. I respect 50 Cent being a massive hater and selling the documentary Diddy Do It. 50 Cent has been, like, I would say an elite level hater of P. Diddy for quite a while. I don't remember how long ago this was, but there's a comment he left on an Instagram post of Diddy's that I think about from time to time and giggle on. It was P. Diddy riding a bike, and 50 Cent left the comment under it saying, "We all know there's no seat on that bike." That shit, like, I was grabbing my belly when I first read that one. I thought that was so good. Earlier this evening, federal agents arrested Sean Combs based on a sealed indictment filed by the SDNY. United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Damian Williams, said in a statement, "We expect to move to unseal the indictment in the morning and we'll have more to say at that time." Federal grand jury in Manhattan returned an indictment against Combs, which set in motion his arrest. The charges remain sealed. Oh, keeping him a mystery right now. A little loot box of charges here for him. What was the name of his camp for kids where he, like, brainwashed kids and shit? Was it Puff Daddy Pastry Parade or something? What the fuck was it? Puff Daddy Love Care? Puffy Flavor Camp. That's what it was.
the singer and producer...
Puffy Flavor Camp. That's right. Basically, like, abducted kids. That's exaggeratory. He didn't, like, abduct them himself. But that shit was foul. The 48 Hours with Justin. Oh, yeah. The P. Diddy clip with Puffy Flavor Camp. He was like... I don't remember the whole... I'll pull up the clip, I guess, in a second. But there's a clip where there's an interview, and he's like, No. Justin's got 48 hours with Puff. He's got a 48 Puffy hours. No interruptions. It'll be good for him or something. It's so weird. Fucking diddler. In plain sight. Right under everyone's nose for years. Finally, though, they're acting on all of the shit. Much like Epstein, it feels like everyone knew he was on some heinous shit, but no one came forward because he's so influential. Well, that was one of the big things. If I remember correctly, he had, like, a lot of dirt on everyone through throwing his Diddy parties. So I think that was a big piece of leverage for him in keeping people quiet for so long. But yeah, tons of people knew all about Diddy and the terrible shit. All of you probably know by now, they finally caught the dastardly diddler. P. Diddy has been arrested, and I imagine that scene looks straight out of Batman Arkham Asylum when they have, like, Joker strapped to that thing walking him through the insane asylum. This guy is a menace that terrorized the entire music industry for decades. I've gone over his lore a lot, so I'm not just going to regurgitate all of that. There's a lot of new things I want to talk about that's been happening as a result of him being arrested. The first thing that happened almost immediately is they put him under suicide watch. It was like a speed run to get him there. I don't know if that's standard protocol or if they found something that made them believe he might hurt himself, like he was smuggling razor blades in his butthole, or maybe they were worried that without baby oil he'd just take his own life because he doesn't know how to live without baby oil. I really couldn't tell you. Maybe this is just textbook procedure. That's what they're saying it is, calling it procedural suicide watch for high-profile clients. But I've only seen this once before in a case like this, and it was Epstein. And in his case, it was more like suicide don't watch, because it didn't really do much. Very suspicious, but we're not here to talk about that. Point is, though, this happened immediately upon him being taken into custody for the most part, like within a couple of days. And since his arrest, tons of clips and videos and information about who associated with P. Diddy has been coming out. And it's a lot of big celebrities. P. Diddy was a very well-connected person. There were huge names at his freak-off events. There's a lot of people that absolutely knew what P. Diddy was doing. And there's going to most likely be a lot of big celebrities that get implicated in some heinous shit in their connection with Diddy. One person right now that a lot of people are having their eyes on is Usher. I mentioned Usher as well when talking about P. Diddy being arrested, and it's because Usher has gone on record talking about his time at Puffy Flavor Camp, which again, I think is the most on-the-nose shit ever. Like, that just sounds like an evil diddler organization. Puffy fucking Flavor Camp. So anyway, when Usher was a kid in the 90s, he lived with P. Diddy for a year at this Puffy Flavor Camp, and he went on Howard Stern's show and talked a little bit about his experience, kind of vaguely, but mentioned multiple times that there were things going on that he just couldn't understand, and probably shouldn't have been experiencing. When asked if he would send his kid to a Puffy Flavor Camp, he said, hell no. This is someone who lived through the evilness of P. Diddy and did nothing to prevent it from happening to others, like Justin Bieber, another Puffy Flavor Camp veteran. A lot of Bieber clips have surfaced from when he was a kid in Hollywood, and it is fucking foul. Not just in relation to P. Diddy, but in general, the way Hollywood, openly sexualized him as a kid is absurd. That shit is crazy. Anyway, though, back to Usher. He's never spoken out against Diddy or anything, whether that's out of fear or maybe he really thinks that what happened to him is just the norm in Hollywood because P. Diddy was so connected and so many artists went through him and were put through horrible shit with P. Diddy because they were convinced that they had to go through that in order to be successful in the industry because P. Diddy told them that, and people told them that. P. Diddy would be like the kingmaker, so you'd have to be fucking waterboarded by baby oil and all kinds of depraved shit for P. Diddy in order to be successful. Otherwise, he might ruin your career before it even starts. He was the boogeyman of the industry. So whether Usher is afraid of what P. Diddy might have on him, or if he doesn't view what happened to him as a bad thing, I have no way of knowing why, but he's never spoken out against Diddy, which has made a lot of people really suspicious of Usher. And then yesterday, he deleted all of his tweets. He then put out a quick statement saying, account got hacked and damn y'all ran with it, crying emoji, crying emoji, crying emoji. See you tonight. I mean, I don't think there's anyone on the planet that believes that. You'd have to get up pretty early in the morning to try and pull this fast one on someone. Who in the world would take that hook, line, and sinker? You're telling me a hacker went on your Twitter and the only thing they did was secretly delete all of your tweets? Who was the hacker? Your PR manager? What? Usually when an account gets hacked on Twitter, two things happen. Either it starts spamming slurs and unhinged tweets, or it starts promoting crypto scams. Why would someone hack him just to scrub his Twitter from potentially damaging tweets that might be used as evidence potentially? The timing of that makes no sense. That must be the most helpful hacker of all time. Who hacked this guy? Captain America trying to protect him or something? What? I can confidently say that's a load of baloney right there. That is some dirty barnacles. Usher did not get hacked. But maybe there's a chance he himself didn't go through and delete them. He might have had one of his managers do it. That's possible, I guess, but either way, it doesn't matter. It was a conscious decision to go through and scrub his Twitter. It had to be. That's the only thing that makes sense. Diddy gets arrested, and then a few days later, his whole Twitter account is scrubbed, and he had a very close relationship with Diddy? I mean, that's super suspicious. And then to try and claim that it was a hacker who did it secretly? What? It just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. Now, there was another celebrity who also scrubbed her Twitter, and it's Pink. I saw her name floating around in regards to scrubbed Twitters as well, where people were claiming Pink had just scrubbed all of her tweets as well because of Diddy's arrest. So I looked into that because I'd never heard about Pink and Diddy being close or anything, but I also wasn't the most tapped into Hollywood and the music industry connections. And what I learned is that Pink didn't just scrub her Twitter in light of Diddy's arrest. She actually deleted all of her tweets back in February. So 7 months ago she did that as a way of just stepping away from social media because she said she didn't enjoy it. So it doesn't sound like it has anything to do with Diddy. And from everything I've looked at, she's never been publicly around Diddy. It doesn't seem like they're friends or anything. I can't find anything of her talking positively about it or attending one of his freak off events or anything. I don't see any connection like that. So I don't think she deleted her tweets because of P. Diddy. I do believe Usher did, though. I don't think it's some kind of coincidence that his Twitter account gets mysteriously hacked and he has all of his tweets deleted after P. Diddy's arrest and after the public becomes really well aware of how many people P. Diddy was close with. That just, something smells a little fishy there. So I think this is just the beginning of celebrities and P. Diddy like putting the spotlight on the awful shit that they were all privy to. Like I said, P. Diddy is a very well-connected person for decades. Apparently, he was also a big enthusiast of filming some things at these events and would use some of it as like dirt on people that attended them, and that'd be another way he'd use to keep people's mouths shut about some of the stuff that would happen there. But I do think that the tapes will probably get confiscated at some point, and I think that information will probably lead to a lot of celebrities getting into some big hot water. Now, there is a celebrity that I haven't mentioned yet that has been in the spotlight a little bit as a result of P. Diddy being arrested, and it's Kevin Hart. So, Kevin Hart is in a P. Diddy video. At one of the Freak Off events, Kevin Hart is there. And people are claiming that after P. Diddy got arrested, Kevin Hart closed all of his restaurants. Kevin Hart has a fast food chain called Hart House, and they are claiming that he shut down all of those restaurants as a result of P. Diddy being arrested, trying to like get ahead of it. But from what I can see, he actually closed down those restaurants a week before P. Diddy got arrested, so that might not be the reason for it, but it also could be, because I think everyone knew this day was coming with P. Diddy getting arrested, because so much evidence has been coming to light so quickly. So there is still that chance, but I do think it's more likely Kevin Hart shut them down for other reasons outside of that, and that Kevin Hart is probably still guilty of some horrible shit at these P. Diddy events, but I don't know if that was the reason behind closing down the restaurants. Again, though, I do think there's going to be a lot of information that comes out about a lot of celebrities as a result of P. Diddy's arrest. So, just wanted to give a little update here because there's a lot happening quickly when it comes to P. Diddy and this arrest, so that's about it. See ya. I'm following the Diddy case very closely. I think this is a super serious one that's up there with like the same level of Epstein almost. And in following the case so closely, where I have peepers on it at all times, I'm also following his lawyer pretty closely. So I've watched every interview that his lawyer has done. Good old Mark, a real patriot. The majority of what Mark says is just boilerplate standard lawyer lie speak, just a bunch of babble where when confronted with questions, just basically deflects it or reshapes it. So if he's confronted with a question about the case, he will do his best to steer it differently. So in one interview, someone asked him point blank what he thinks about the video that shows Diddy beating the shit out of a woman. And he says, yeah, that's bad. He basically just says, like, it's not good, you know, beating women, boo, I'm not a fan of that. But we have to remember, he's not being indicted for beating women. Wow, Mark, checkmate. Right you are. We do need to keep that in mind. Surely this video evidence of P. Diddy beating the shit out of Cassie has nothing to do with anything else. You've nailed it there, Phoenix Wright. You're a real shining star, Mark. And that's kind of what he does. He'll take things, be like, oh yeah, no, beating women, not good. But that is not what he's indicted for. In fact, they're coming after him for sex trafficking. Can you believe it? What nonsense. It's ridiculous, and we're going to prove it in court. We'll give him the razzle-dazzle, a little bit of that slam jam, thank you ma'am, and prove that P. Diddy is an innocent man. It's a bunch of fucking nothing, a giant nothing burger with the way Mark talks about it. I know he knows that P. Diddy is guilty, but he's about to get a fat paycheck for it. So there's not a whole lot I want to talk about when it comes to Mark's interviews or statements, but there are two interviews I want to show you and really talk about because they are beautiful. So Mark's been getting asked a lot about the baby oil. Mark has to defend so many awful, fucking heinous, and downright weird things for his client, and he has to defend all of them, mind you, which includes the fucking baby oil, and the way that he tries to defend it is so silly. He is a fucking amazing clown. So if, like, this whole lawyer thing doesn't work out for him, or if he wants to retire and just, like, do something on the side, this dude absolutely needs to get into, like, honking his nose professionally, because this shit is great.
They call them freak-offs. But, you know, back when I was a kid in the late 70s, they were called threesomes.
If these are genuinely threesomes, How do you explain 1,000 bottles of baby oil?
I don't know where the number 1,000 came.
The U.S. attorney said it.
I can't imagine it's thousands. I mean, you know.
There's already so much to unpack there. He is trying, with a straight face, to say that the freak-off parties are just threesomes. Brother, open your eyes. There are videos from some of the freak-offs, and it's a lot different than what you're trying to paint it as here. That is just so disingenuous and delusional. I get that it's his job, but man, don't insult the intelligence of every human being on the planet. It's just one Google search away. You can see. It's not just threesomes, and Goober here is trying to pull the wool over your eyes by trying to convince you that it's just threesomes. Well, back in my day, we used to call that a threesome. Now all of a sudden it's a freak-off or some shit. Like, what are you talking about? It's so dumb. But anyway, to the baby oil. He immediately tries to downplay it like, oh, it wasn't 1,000. Where'd that made-up number come from? That's a fucking fake news fib right there. And the interviewer's like, no, that came from the attorney. Like, no, that's the official statement. He's like, no, they must be lying. Surely they're lying about that.
And I'm not really sure what the baby oil has to do with anything.
They're essentially saying it's a lubricant for an orgy.
I guess. I don't know what you need 1,000. One bottle of baby oil goes a long way. I don't know what you need 1,000 for. I mean, he has a big house. He buys in bulk. You know, I think they have Costco's in every place where he has a home.
You can see the cogs in his brain turning in real time as he starts to come to the realization that there is no way to try and justify or explain away 1,000 bottles of baby oil. That quantity is absurd, unfathomable even. And he starts to like break it down, and he starts to go like and argue against his client, like 1,000 bottles of baby oil, that just doesn't make any sense. Who would possibly need that amount of baby oil? Do you know how much mileage you can get out of a single bottle? The best he could come up with is saying that since his houses are close to Costco, he's probably just buying it in bulk. I decided to look it up just out of curiosity what the biggest bundle of baby oil you could even buy in bulk is, and the biggest pack that I could find was 5. A 5-pack of baby oil. He would need 200 packs of that. Just picture that for a moment. Imagine stacking 200 packs of baby oil, 5 packs. If you stack them on top of each other, from bottom to top, it'll probably be about as high as a small office building. Like, that is crazy. And you're going to sit there in front of God and anime and try and make the claim that the freak-offs are just threesomes and the 1,000 bottles of baby oil is unrelated somehow or used for threesomes. Like, Mark, please, brother, oh my God.
I mean, have you sat in a parking lot of a Costco and see what people walk out of there with?
Not 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
I don't think it was 1,000. I think it was. Let's just say it's a lot. Okay?
No, that's not okay, Mark. Why don't we use the actual U.S. attorney's report on how much baby oil they confiscated from his property? You can't just wipe your ass and throw that number away because it makes your client look like an even bigger psychopath. You can't do that, Mark.
I've been with him since 8 o'clock this morning, and it's about almost 3 o'clock now. He's just laser focused. He's engaged. He's helpful. He's confident. You know, we're going through our defense as we do every day, and his spirits are relatively good.
Hey, Mark, I just want to say that information does not make me happy. I don't want to hear that P. Diddy is in good spirits. He shouldn't be. That guy is an absolute fiend. He's a villain. He is evil. I don't want to hear that he's in good spirits or having a positive outlook on things. I want to hear that he's fucking miserable, because that's what he deserves for what he's done for the last few fucking decades that he has been terrorizing the entire music industry and ruining lives. So, Mark, your reporting right there actually put a frown on my face. You know that? I want you to know that.
How do you explain the baby oil and the lubricants? 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
I don't think it was 1,000. I think it was a lot. I mean, there's a Costco right down the street. You know, I think Americans buy in bulk, as we know. And you know, this is consensual adults doing what consensual adults do. You know, we can't get so puritanical in this country to think that somehow sex is a bad thing, because if it was, there'd be no more people.
He's really sticking to the Costco theory here. Just sit outside of Costco and look what people come out with. It's crazy stuff. I'm sure he's not the only person to walk out of Costco with 1,000 bottles of baby oil. That's definitely the normal thing that happens. And then he tries to put a spin on it that it was consensual adults engaging in sexual activities. Mark, one of the big things about the freak-offs is the non-consensual nature of some of the shit that P. Diddy would force the guests to do. It's like a crucial component of this. And I understand, like, he can't go out there and say anything like that, but the evidence is overwhelming. So I just don't, I hate hearing lawyers speak about a case in a situation like this where the client they're defending is clearly guilty, because then you can just see the lies spilling out of their mouth, and it's just an awful thing to even just look at. But he then does try and put like that last little bow on it by saying like, oh, we can't be like this. We can't be all yucky about hearing about sex. It's important. Imagine if there wasn't sex, there'd be no more people. Whoa. Galaxy brain, Mark. Wow. I see why they pay you the big bucks. But yeah, I just wanted to show you these two interviews here because I love seeing Mark squirm when it comes to the baby oil statement and the baby oil line of questioning. It's really just so good to watch Mark try and tackle it. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah, that advertisement next to this article is crazy. Why do gynecologists recommend this 100% leak-proof underwear to my ma'am? Hey, to USA Today's credit, at least this isn't completely inundated with ads. There's only 4 here that I can see. Usually it's like 7 or 8. Yep, so what came out last night in the P. Diddy case is a lawyer from the Busby law firm has come forward stating that he received thousands of calls over the last 10 days, and they have verified 120 of the victims as legitimate victims, including 25 who were minors. So they have now filed a pending civil lawsuits for it, and he gave a little conference going over kind of like the gist of it. Here, this is a good like summation.
Sex trafficking lawyer Tony Busby made the revelation today.
The claims we intend to bring will include the following: violent sexual assault or rape, sexual abuse, facilitated sex with a controlled substance, false imprisonment, compelling prostitution, sexual misconduct, dissemination of video recordings, false imprisonment.
So he's going through like an entire like platinum trophy list worth of allegations and crimes that Diddy is accused of doing with 120 new victims. So it's a lot, obviously. It's a huge fucking chunk, which I don't think anyone's surprised by given the scope of Diddy and the Diddy parties and all of that. But now these are being filed. They're separate from the indictment, so this is different than what Diddy is currently in jail for. And he, the lawyer, is claiming that some of the names, like accomplices, people that engaged with it, people that knew about it and did nothing, are names that will shock people. Why did Nicolas Cage's son accusing him of hitting come up? Why, that's not what?
Investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told are names that will shock you. These are individual cases. There are indeed other perpetrators involved. They will be revealed when that particular individual case is ready to be filed. They already know who they are. And I'm talking here about not just the cowardly but complicit bystanders. That is, those people that we know.
What is this countdown?
This behavior occur.
Really? That's fascinating. I hate using the internet without an ad block on. Jesus Christ. Okay. Anyway, though, he goes on to say that it's more than just, like, the people that engaged and people that were, like, complicit and everything. And they have, like, evidence to back it up, this and that. And I can tell you, Kevin Hart is fucking sweating. He has been videoed at a Diddy party, and I bet right now he is panicking. That dude's gonna try and book, like, 1,000 rolls ASAP before it all comes crumbling down with Diddy here, I bet. But I was wondering, what names would really shock me? I just feel like everyone in Hollywood is just fundamentally evil, save for some rare exceptions. I don't think anyone that'll be named in this, if they're confirmed to be like a Diddy associate that like engaged with all of this degenerate, awful, illegal shit, I don't think there's any names there that would surprise me. Like maybe Bill Nye would surprise me. Or like Humphrey Bogart, because he's dead. Like that would be crazy if Humphrey Bogart is in the middle of all this. But aside from that, like, I don't know who else would really surprise me. Maybe, like, Wumpus from Discord would be another one that'd be pretty shocking. Keanu. Oh, Keanu Reeves would be a very shocking one. But I'm so confident he wouldn't be involved here that it's not even a thought that crosses my mind. Like, he doesn't engage with any Hollywood zombies or anything, really. Brendan Fraser. That's another person, though, that also just doesn't really engage with a lot of people in Hollywood. He was even ostracized from Hollywood for a little while. So I just don't think he'd be involved in it either. But those would be shocking. You were right, yeah. Those were so shocking, my voice just cracked. Who would be your number one pick? Like, who do I think is for sure going to be involved in all of this? If they ever release the Diddy list? I think, obvious one, Kevin Hart. He's already been on video at a Diddy party. I think, for sure.
Sexual abuse of minors.
Busby says the victims include both men and women, and he says some of them were minors.
Our youngest victim at the time of the occurrence was 9 years old. We have an individual who was 14 years old.
Jesus
We have
Christ.
one who was 15. 25 of the 120 individuals who are plaintiffs in these cases were minors at the time of the acts complained of.
And he says there's evidence to prove it.
You should know that more than 55% of the victims filed reported this conduct to either the authorities, that is the police, or to hospitals.
Diddy is being held without...
So, we're going to see how this unfolds here, but he also mentioned in the conference they received 3,000 calls, and of the 3,000 calls, they verified, like they did their due diligence, according to him, verified 120 of them as like legitimate victims, and claims that they have a lot of evidence to support it. So it seems like there's quite a lot of weight to that. Like, it doesn't seem like just people trying to capitalize off Diddy for a payday. What it really seems like is now that this case has blown up, like the lid's been blown wide open, cat's out of the bag, everyone who has been a victim for so many decades is starting to come forward with their own accounts. Kind of like the March of the Treants against Isengard. So now they're all coming out, they're all talking about what happened, and apparently a lot of it's being verified. So, could be a pretty big deal. Do you think Bieber will talk? I think so. I think Justin Bieber is another, like, big victim in all of this. I think he'll probably come forward. I don't have a crystal ball or anything to predict it, but I just feel like Hollywood did Bieber so dirty. Like, openly sexualizing him as a child and all of that. Like, I feel like he's probably going to speak about it. Why are people saying DiCaprio? I don't know. Is DiCaprio a good friend of Diddy's? Or is he like a victim? I don't know about the DiCaprio connection to it all. I love this. Look at all these wonderful ads I get in my article. My article's somewhere in here, I'm sure. I just gotta find it. Reports suggest, including Diddy himself, required IV drips. Yeah, this is all what we've known about it for a while, but where is Leo? Here we go. The last occasion they were photographed together was in 2019 when Leo, 49, attended Diddy's 50th birthday celebration. That's crazy. I clicked this link expecting it to have the photograph. What it did is it just linked me back to the same article I was reading to try and farm more ads off of me. You make me fucking sick, Irish Star. We'll see what comes from it. P. Diddy's lawyer hasn't spoke on it yet. He's still too busy fighting on the front lines about the baby oil stuff, so we'll have to wait to see what Mark says. I'm sure Mark will dismiss it as just people like trying to pounce on Diddy for money. That's the angle I think he's going to try and claim. That's just my guess, based on everything I've seen from Mark, but we'll see. I know Costco responded saying they don't even sell baby oil or whatever. I saw. I don't think anyone's surprised. Mark was just fishing for any kind of logical reason. Like, he was doing his best. He is obligated to defend everything Diddy does and has ever done. Like, even with that video of him beating the shit out of Cassie, Mark defends it as like, well, you need to kind of understand the context. She threw her phone at him. So, I mean, you know, like, you know, like, it's not good to beat women, but, I mean, we need to remember, she threw her phone. So, like, it's Mark's job. Of course he's going to defend it. God, that LeBron meme has been around for so long, and for the first time it's actually somewhat applicable with Diddy. How will it affect his legacy? If LeBron is somehow included in these claims, and it's, like, verified, it will actually fucking tarnish his legacy. Actually, maybe not. I say that, but then I remember that basketball still celebrates Karl Malone, and he impregnated a 13-year-old. The guy is a rapist, and then they still celebrate him. So maybe it wouldn't, actually. Chat, did Baba Vanga predict this? Oh, we need to check. Yeah, I didn't look at Baba Vanga's predictions to see if they lined up with this. She very well could have. I really do, again, I'll say it again. I really do think Diddy's not going to get Epsteined. I think we'll eventually know the depths of the depravity, and I think we'll know a lot of the celebrities and associates that were engaged. That's my prediction. I don't know who all is going to be implicated beyond, like, the obvious, like Kevin Hart and all that, but I do really think for sure he's not going to get Epsteined. We can only clear one person for certain, 50 Cent. That's the only guy that's innocent. He's been shitting on Diddy for years. Can you imagine, though, if he is actually named in this? That would be... Actually, that name would shock me. That would be one of the few names that would actually shock me. P. Diddy. I'm sure most of you know that name, and I'm sure in recent times you've at least heard a little bit about the awful things he is accused of. P. Diddy has been a huge individual in the music industry for decades now, and with a lot of new information coming to light about his past as well as what he's been doing behind the scenes, a lot of people are comparing him to the Harvey Weinstein or the Epstein of the music industry. It's abhorrent stuff that's come to light. And in recent times he's become known as the Diddler. And you don't want to fiddle with the diddle. P. Diddy's got a laundry list of extremely serious accusations, and he's embroiled in a ton of controversy as well as lawsuits, and there's just been a lot to keep track of with everything he's accused of. From car bombings to assault to abuse to sex trafficking. It's like he's trying to get the platinum trophy for crime. He's committed like every crime imaginable, allegedly. It's scary stuff. And like I said, there's been so much that I imagine a lot of you aren't even aware of all of it. But luckily, Jackson, Windigoon, and myself did all the heavy lifting and compiled all of the information about everything he's accused of into our Red Thread episode covering P. Diddy. I'll drop a link to the full episode in the description, but for this one, I'm just going to give you all of the most pertinent information concerning the P. Diddy case. We're going to start with Cassandra Ventura's case against P. Diddy. She was in a relationship with him for quite some time and suffered greatly as a result. It initially started with P. Diddy signing her to his record label, Bad Boy Records. He signed her for a 10-album record deal, which is a ton. 10 albums is more than probably most artists have ever put out. Unless you're someone that's just using AI-generated music, it's hard to just shit out 10 albums. That's a lot. Like, that's not small potatoes at all. You're fucking in there for like 30 years to make 10 albums, most likely. And it seems like from the very start, this was all just a ploy, a nefarious scheme from P. Diddy to get Cassandra to be with him. So immediately he started driving a divide between her and her boyfriend. He would leverage his power in the industry to just have control over her. And it's just a horrible, horrible situation.
So on the 16th of November of 2023, P. Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, filed a lawsuit detailing a years-long series of abuse perpetuated on her by Diddy. Ventura claims that she was trapped in a cycle of sexual abuse, violence, and sex trafficking, listing that Diddy, A, raped Mrs. Ventura in her home after she tried to leave him, B, often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on Miss Ventura, resulting in bruises, burst lips, black eyes, and bleeding. C, blew up a man's car after he learned that he was romantically interested in Mrs. Ventura. D, forced Mrs. Ventura to engage in sexual acts with male sex workers while masturbating and filming the encounters. Ran out of his apartment with a firearm in pursuit of a rival industry executive whom he learned was nearby.
All right, never mind. He could have absolutely killed Tupac if he's doing shit like that. He's assassinating rival industry executives.
Yeah.
Yep. So for what it's worth, I don't know if you clarified, but the car explosion was actually Kid Cudi being the victim. So Kid Cudi's car exploded in his driveway, and P. Diddy is the one that's blamed for it.
Cassie was in a relationship with producer Ryan Leslie from 2004 to 2007. It appeared from the start, however, that Diddy was interested in a relationship with Cassie. He started to push her away from Ryan and forced a divide between them. Diddy was in a long-term relationship with Kim Porter, which ended in 2007 due to his alleged infidelity. Even while in his previous relationships, Diddy would apparently not allow Ryan, her boyfriend, around, flirting with Cassie and forcing her to do drugs while she was in private with him. Cassie was young and impressionable, and Diddy flaunted his wealth, showing his ability to look after her or control her. Diddy had the ability to skyrocket Casey's career, but in return, he seemed to have wanted her obedience and loyalty. She feared that rejecting him would harm her future career and album deal, so she eventually went along with his request.
So just the like age-old manipulation tactic that all of these like Hollywood producers and all these executives have used time and time again. It's like
you want to be famous, don't you?
Yeah, you want to be famous.
Just holding it over their head.
Just some awful stuff. The stuff that started the Me Too movement, obviously. Harvey Weinstein. Stuff like that, obviously. Just massive amounts of pervasive corruption that's kind of systemic in all those entertainment industries. And yeah, I'm not shocked at all that Diddy is one of them, the biggest proponents of it.
Yeah, people using their power to get sex, yeah. Casey decided to leave, prompting Diddy to repeatedly message her throughout the night, accusing her of leaving him high and alone.
Imagine getting those kinds of messages and these actions from what is ostensibly your boss. Because he is. He's a boss.
Come back, frowny face.
I'm all alone.
You're just gonna leave me like this? I'm scared.
Yeah. I'm high and I don't want to be alone.
Why have you never messaged me like that, Charlie?
The phrasing of that did seem kind of juvenile, accusing her of leaving him high and alone.
I'll start sending you those text messages, Jackson, when I'm out, like at a bar. It's like, Jackson, I'm so lonely. Where are you?
Why didn't you come? Why aren't you here? Where's my hug?
Yeah, where's my hug?
But it's a little funny that someone whose whole mantra is like as a big, tough, and rumble rapper, part of the lawsuit is that he had a cuck fetish, you know?
I mean, that's how that always goes, right? I feel like we see that a lot with like these perceived powerful people, like strong guys. It's always like, well, you actually really like to watch me fuck other dudes in front of him. It happens all the time.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, you think you're tough? You think you can take my girl? I bet you'd like to. Why don't you do it right now? Go. And there she is.
You think you're so tough, huh? Why don't you fuck my girl? Oh, you think you're such a fucking tough guy, huh?
In 2007, there was another instance where Diddy paid a promoter to create a fake flyer for a party supposedly hosted by Casey. This provided her with an excuse to travel to Miami and away from her boyfriend. Casey was unnerved by Diddy's ability to manipulate others into lying for him, and she felt extremely uncomfortable with the entire situation. This guy had a fake flyer to have her fly down. This is the most like high school,
elaborate shit, just so he wouldn't feel lonely.
Yeah. Casey alleges that Diddy or his management controlled every aspect of her life. He introduced her to a lifestyle permeated by drug use, which contributed to her compliance. He insisted that she refer to him as Pop Pop, a term she called her grandfather.
It's fucking disgusting.
Ew, gross.
Oh, yuck.
Diddy would have his personal staff accompany Casey during all of her day-to-day activities, and even some of her medical records sent to his email address. The example listed in the lawsuit is from when Casey suffered memory loss, possibly due to injuries from abuse and/or drug abuse. When she had an MRI, her results were sent to Diddy and not her. Diddy also made Casey get prescriptions from his doctor in her name for medication that he was addicted to when he exhausted his own supply of pills.
God,
that's
so
like Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
like getting all
fucking just constant drug.
Diddy would often show spouts of incredibly violent fits of rage, apparently beating Casey multiple times each year, leaving bruises all over her body. He would go to extensive lengths to hide evidence of this, like having Casey hide away in hotels for days while she healed. She recalls after one particular party, in which Jay-Z was named as being in attendance, that Diddy kicked and hit her and forced her out of a vehicle on 5th Avenue in New York City. She got a cab to take her to her apartment, but was so traumatized and afraid of Diddy that she had the realization that she could never tell anyone due to how influential he was in the music industry. Where Diddy discovered that Casey had a conversation with another music producer at a party in Los Angeles in 2009. Casey wanted to discuss her career with the producer. In response, Diddy abruptly removed Casey from the party and departed in a car. Allegedly, Diddy forcibly pushed her into a corner of the car and proceeds to, quote, stomp on her face. Despite the presence of Diddy's security team, the situation escalated beyond their control, which showed her just how loyal his network was.
I doubt the security team even like tried to stop it, right?
No, they definitely didn't.
Casey was expected to find locations and hire male sex workers when Diddy wanted. The situations being frequent, sometimes weekly. He would become so intoxicated and belligerent during these situations and would allegedly also beat Casey in front of the sex workers. The lawsuit lists multiple locations where this, what Diddy referred to as our secret to Casey, would happen, including Trump International Hotel, the London Hotel, the Intercontinental Hotels, and more. Man. Hotel suites would be decked out with baby oil and Astroglide, and Diddy would provide Casey and the sex worker with seemingly endless supply of drugs, including ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, weed, and alcohol.
What's GHB?
I have no idea. I don't know what that stands for.
Diddy would film these encounters, and even when Casey deleted the videos, Diddy would claim that he had backups.
So using it for blackmail, probably, like hoarding these videos.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Casey tried to escape Diddy multiple times, but he utilized his staff and networks to lure her back in. During a brief breakup, Casey actually dated musician Kid Cudi. Diddy was irate as he had found her phone and saw emails between her and Kid Cudi. He apparently had a manual corkscrew in his hand and charged towards Casey in an attack. In a panic, Casey escaped to Kid Cudi's home. She returned to Diddy, however, as she felt as though she had no choice when Diddy would ask to just talk to her. Diddy was still enraged and hit her multiple times. Casey says that he threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's car. Around this time, Kid Cudi's car did explode in his driveway, and Cudi has since come out and confirmed her version of these events.
It's probably just a coincidence, right?
Yeah, just faulty wiring somewhere.
Casey says she was stuck in a cycle of abuse, trying to run away, being trapped, apologizing, and coming back. It was a rotation of bruises, black eyes, busted lips, and heavy amounts of makeup. She believes that Diddy paid Intercontinental Century City $50,000 for hallway security footage that showed him beating and throwing glass at her.
Man, if that's fucking true, if that is true and they have proof to back that up, that Intercontinental Century City is complicit in hiding evidence of domestic abuse, fuck whoever accepted that offer.
It had to be a manager or something, right? Because it's not like 50,000 is a bribe to the whole organization or anything.
Yeah, it'd be nothing. It'd go to an individual, so they need to find the individual.
They arranged a dinner in 2018 where she thought they would be discussing their official separation. However, instead they returned to her apartment after the dinner and he forced his way in and onto her. She repeatedly asked him to stop and attempted to push him away. She was sexually assaulted and this left her traumatized, and says she continues to suffer emotional distress. Just one day after the lawsuit was brought against Diddy, they settled outside of court. The terms of this were not disclosed, and Diddy's attorney in a statement made it clear that this was not an admission of wrongdoing. Cassandra's statement in this says, "I have decided to resolve this matter amicably on terms that I have some level of control. I want to thank my family, fans, and lawyers for their unwavering support." And Diddy's statement says, "We have decided to resolve this matter amicably. I wish Casey and her family all the best. Love."
This next allegation is from a woman named Liza Gardner. On November 24th of 2023, another lawsuit was filed against Diddy and singer Aaron Hall. So it was a suit against two people by Liza Gardner for battery, sexual assault, and negligent infliction of emotional distress. The lawsuit was filed within the time frame of the Adult Survivors Act and details an event that happened in 1990. Basically, what happened was Liza and her friend were invited to New York City by a few close friends of theirs who were members of a chart-topping recording group signed to MCA Records, which Diddy was a part of. Liza was from North Carolina at the time. She recounts that they met up with Diddy and Aaron at the offices of MCA Records where an event was being held at the time. Diddy and Aaron were very flirtatious and offered rounds of drinks all throughout the night. So remember, this is in 1990, so this is a long time ago by this point. Diddy and Aaron extended an invitation to Liza and her friend to join them at Aaron's apartment for an after party. There, Liza alleges that she was offered additional drinks and coerced into engaging in sexual activity with Diddy. Following the assault, Aaron allegedly barged into the room and proceeded to assault her as well. After the ordeal, Liza hastily dressed and fled the apartment with her friend following closely behind. And when they were speaking to each other afterwards, they kind of recounted their experiences and a lot lined up, suggesting that both women had been exchanged between both Aaron and Diddy. Days later, Diddy turned up to where Liza and her friend were staying, and he acted in a Diddy-esque irate manner, something we've come to know and kind of experience over the next 30 years as being pretty common with Diddy. He began to choke Liza to the point where she passed out, and he was also searching for her friend out of worry that she would alert the authorities about what had happened. This lawsuit goes into just really disturbing details, like apparently Aaron Hall had bragged about engaging in sexual activity with minors as well. Like there's information in the lawsuit about that specifically, and confirmed that Diddy was sometimes in the room when this was happening, so he was at least complicit to the conversations about some really disgusting stuff happening with minors.
So one thing that you didn't mention here is that she was 16 at the time. The Liza Gardner was 16 during this period.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't know why that wasn't in there. It's awful.
Yeah, I double checked, and yeah, according to NBC, the amended complaint filed by Gardner on Tuesday, which was like a week ago, obtained by NBC, said she was 16 at the time, thus too young to consume alcohol or consent to sex.
So that's in the amended lawsuit? Maybe that's why I didn't see it.
Yeah, this is that might be why it's not there, because I remember seeing that headline, and the fact that it wasn't there, I just thought it was important to mention as well.
Yeah,
so yeah, maybe you just missed it because this is pretty brand new.
Charlie, you can take the next one.
Sure. This next one is Dickerson Neal versus Combs. On the 23rd of November 2023, a lawsuit was filed against Diddy, Bad Boy Entertainment, and Combs Enterprise LLC by Joy Dickerson Neal for suffering as a result of being drugged, sexually assaulted, and abused and being the victim of revenge porn. The lawsuit was filed within the time frame of the New York Adult Survivors Act, same as Liza Gardner's. Joy was a student at Syracuse University studying psychology. She was looking to make a step into the music industry and also worked many odd jobs in the industry, such as a receptionist at a renowned talent agency and as a location scout. When they met, Diddy made several advances on Joy, but she had heard that he had a reputation of treating women badly and rejected him every time. So he already had that reputation.
Yeah, and this was in 1990.
Yeah, before he even had like his massive amount of fame to his name.
Fucking Christ.
In January 1991, she eventually agreed to meet Diddy in New York, but she chose the Wells restaurant in Harlem as she was reluctant and knew the employees there. During the evening, she started to feel more comfortable. They were sharing drinks and food, and she made a point to say that there was a period of time that she went to the bathroom and she left her drink unattended. Didn't want the date to end, and invited her to run errands with him. And once they were in the car, he brought out a blunt. Originally declining, Joy felt pressured to take a hit, and Diddy told her he would have her home with enough time to study. After this, Joy says her memory is incomplete. She remembers feeling rubbery in the legs and being unable to stand, and he brought her to a music studio. Then she recalls being outside of where Diddy was staying, possibly thinking that it was his house, but an acquaintance of both of theirs answered the door. Once inside, she was sexually assaulted, and due to being drugged, was unable to fight Diddy off. She says that the day after, she was in so much pain in a way she had never felt before, and held a lot of embarrassment and shame. This resulted in her not going to the hospital or reporting the incident, instead seeking safety in her apartment. Devontae Swing, a member of the group Jodeshi, would inform Joy a few days later that Diddy had filmed himself assaulting her and showed him and others the video. She was horrified to hear that everyone had seen it and that it would haunt her for the rest of her life. Joy recalls that Devontae wanted to speak up about it, but was scared that the band would lose their record deal as they were in the midst of recording their album Forever Lady. Holy shit. So they saw this video, still didn't do anything about it, and he is bragging about assaulting her and filming it.
Well, not just bragging about it. They showed the video. Yeah, they was just willingly showing these to people in the industry. Again, it's just,
and the dude's like, sorry, we've got like this whole deal worked out, you know?
Yeah, so like I saw you get sexually assaulted and shit. That video was brutal, but we're recording Forever Lady right now, so if you could just like tough it up
every
till that's
single
done.
time these situations happen where someone gets away with like decades of like assault and abuse and rape and stuff like that, it's always because there were 100 people who were like, yeah, but that didn't want to make things weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had so much going on that was in jeopardy if I was to report this. It's like, I mean, you know, is it that urgent? Do I need to report it?
We're doing great on iTunes.
Record?
You know, I don't want to kill that momentum or anything.
Yeah.
What's that fucking saying that's always overused about how like the only the one thing that like lets bad people do bad things is a
evil
good person not
prevails
being-
when good men do nothing.
Yeah, something like that.
That's the Call of Duty quote
Yeah.
that comes up when you get killed in COD 4.
I'm pretty sure it's a Churchill quote originally, but yeah, it gets used everywhere.
It's true though. Like so
is.
many situations here could have been prevented if the people witnessing these events had put aside their ambitions, their goals, their fear of them being like targeted by Diddy, and instead done the correct thing and alerted the authorities about just the troubling stuff.
This is 1991. You could have stopped Diddy before he ever even spiraled even more out of control.
He wasn't
this
even
could have
that.
ended.
He was successful, of course. I'm not gonna claim that he wasn't and that he didn't hold some level of power, but he wasn't Diddy, the multi-billionaire, the billionaire media mogul, like empire creator that he is now. Like it would have been way more possible back then.
I also just don't understand because like I feel like you gain so much more by being the one to blow the lid off it, right? Like
Now,
this
yeah,
band
back
or
then,
this group,
no.
I'm not even familiar with, and they were so excited for this album that I don't know. But I probably would know them if this was the group that led to him going to jail for these kind of things and stopping him. Like they would have had so much more success. I
don't think back then, but now, yeah. Like in current year where everyone's so connected and like the allegations and stuff like that gets a lot more screen time and people taking it seriously. But back then, all it would have taken was like P. Diddy saying like "no you" or something, and then like now they're shunned and no one believes them.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Maybe back then it would have been different. Joy had tried to file reports against Diddy and had even allegedly spoken to several prosecutors with the intention of pressing charges. But members of the law enforcement told her that she needed witnesses or people who had experienced similar assaults. People around her were terrified to speak up against Diddy, as he was powerful and could ruin future opportunities. He was also known to be violent, and they seemingly did not want to be at the other end of his anger.
God damn it.
This is Lil Rod. On 26th of February 2024, a lawsuit was filed against Diddy, his son Justin, multiple members of his staff, and Chalice Recording Studio, Love Records, Motown Records, Universal Music Group, Combs Global Enterprises, and more by Rodney Jones. Rodney Jones, or Lil Rod, was a former producer and videographer for Diddy. He worked on 9 songs on Diddy's album Love from September 2022. Oh, he worked on... Sorry, I put all that together. He worked on 9 songs on Diddy's album Love from September 2022 to November 2022. I thought that was the name of the album, Love from September 2022. I was like, what the fuck is that name?
The album name is Love from September 2022 to November 2023. A very specific period of time of love for Diddy.
Great year of loving, I suppose. But yeah, so he worked on that album, 9 songs for Love. And he lived with Diddy for months at a time. Lil Rod is said to have many witness statements, video, audio records, and images which corroborate his complaint. Apparently, Diddy required Lil Rod to film him all the time, and on
which is a great idea. Which is a great idea if you're committing crimes constantly, like fucking crimes.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Diddy. Welcome to Jackass.
Make sure you film this. What a fucking idiot. Of course, it's not idiocracy though, it's confidence. That's what's annoying about this to me is he's not an idiot. Well, he is, but he's not an idiot in this way. He's just extremely confident that he's not going to be caught and no one will care. That's what's so annoying.
It's his ego.
Yeah.
So on several occasions took his phone and recorded himself. So he started vlogging his own shit too.
Yeah, great.
This has resulted in hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of Diddy, his staff, and guests engaging in illegal activity. Lil Rod claims to have irrefutable evidence of the acquisition, use, distribution of ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms. The displaying and distribution of unregistered illegal firearms, case 124CV-01457, document 1, filed on 2/26/2024, page 7 of 738.
Well, you didn't need to read
a
it
lot of
specifically. You could have just said it's
Well, no, just in case anyone wants to check out the case number and they're only listening via audio, so they can go ahead and quickly remember that case number. Mr. Combs providing laced alcoholic beverages to minors and sex workers at his home in California, New York, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Florida.
Man, they got him in 4 different places, handing out beer to kids.
Keep in mind, he wanted all of this documented. Him lacing alcoholic beverages and giving them to minors and sex workers at his homes.
Do you think he was doing it to like jerk off to it, like he was proud of what was happening, or was he actually like gonna use it in promotional footage or something?
You think he was jerking off to videos of him hanging out with his friends and stuff?
Yeah, like I don't know why he'd even want any of it recorded. Like, there's nothing that you could use that for. Like, oh, I want to. Hey, Lil Rod, can you pull up that party from like 2 weeks ago? I want to see me give this kid some beer again.
Well,
like,
hey,
what, like I don't understand.
No, maybe it's when he's feeling lonely. He looks back at it and sees all the fun times he had with his friends.
He probably wanted to do like some video with it, or like be like, no, this is my life. This is what it's like. This is the lifestyle, you know? Like,
I don't know. I think another equally possible thing is this guy's got actual amnesia, like he has memory loss problems from all the frequent drug abuse, and he needs this footage to remember his life.
It's like 50 First Dates, the end of 50 First Dates. He wakes up to this playing on the TV to remember his whole life. He's like, oh shit, that's right, I'm a criminal. I beat women, of course.
Mr. Combs' chief of staff, Christina Coram, KK, instructed her staff to retrieve drugs so she can provide it to Mr. Combs for his consumption. Christian Combs drugging and sexually assaulting a woman. Mr. Combs detailing how he planned to leverage his relationship with Bishop TJ Jakes to soften the impact on his public image of Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. Young Miami's cousin and or assistant sexually assaulting Mr. Jones. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. sexually harassing and assaulting Mr. Jones.
You didn't know about that?
Whoa. No.
Okay, this is going to get interesting, yeah.
That's a name I haven't heard in so long.
And it's not a great situation for it to pop back up in. And it only gets
Holy
worse.
shit. So rapper Redacted on Mr. Combs' yacht consorting with underage girls, sex workers, and R&B singer Redacted in Mr. Combs' Los Angeles home consorting with underage girls and sex workers.
I want to know who they are so bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you guys this article because I looked up Cuba Gooding Jr.
No,
here.
it's coming up. It's coming up.
Well, this is 9 hours ago. There's no way it's here.
Oh.
It's just this headline and this picture associated with it is fucking extraordinary. So it says, Cuba Gooding Jr. surfaces in Miami amid Diddy's drama, and it's him on the back of a golf cart looking like really shocked at what he's reading.
Like he's reading it in real time. He's on his phone.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm going to throw
Is he
this up
wearing
on screen
overalls?
as well.
He's got like a vacation shirt. He's got like a vacation shirt on. He's going to a yacht.
He's like, shit, I did what? Like he's just
He's like,
finding out.
damn, I don't who did I
remember that.
sexually assault? He's in the next picture. He's shaking his fist. Damn you, little Rod. However, this turned from promises to threats. Allegedly, Diddy even threatened to harm Lil Rod physically, saying he would eat his face off. Diddy even said he would kill his own mother, Janice, to achieve his goals. Jesus Christ.
Unprompted? Just go.
Yeah, I can imagine how that conversation went. Listen, I will kill my mother right now. Like, I will do
In an
it.
instant.
You think Janice is reading these fucking allegations and be like, what the fuck? My son said what? That's fucked up.
My son's gonna kill me. Why?
Also, eat his face off. Was he on fucking bath salts at the time? Like, what a
Probably, yeah.
weird threat.
According to the lawsuit, Diddy was relentless, intimidating, flaunting his firearms, and boasting about his ability to evade consequences for violent acts to sow fear in individuals like Lil Rod. In September of 2022, Diddy was holding a writers and producers camp at Chalice Recording Studio. Diddy, his son Justin, and a man named G were in a heated conversation that moved from studio into a restroom near where Lil Rod was shitting. Sitting.
Is that because you read restroom?
Yeah, I definitely thought that said shitting because they went to the restroom and I thought they barged in on him pooping.
That's the most fucked up allegation of all. They didn't knock before they barged in.
where Lil Rod was sitting, which was about 2 feet away from the bathroom. He then heard multiple gunshots ring out. According to Lil Rod, a crowd gathered outside the restroom, and when the door opened, Diddy and his son walked out, and G was lying on the floor in the fetal position, bleeding from his leg/hip area. Lil Rod ran to G and began applying pressure on the wound and demanded that someone call for an ambulance. During this, Diddy and his son had disappeared to another section of the studio. Lil Rod was told by Diddy to inform the police that he was not involved in the shooting at all, and was instead instructed to lie that G was shot standing outside the building in a drive-by incident. What? G would certainly not play along with that, though, right? Wouldn't he be like, no, I got shot by him?
Maybe he was afraid of getting shot again by fucking
That's true.
Diddy. Who knows?
That is super true. And there's pictures of the aftermath here. Lil Rod says that he still has the clothing that he wore that day, which he thinks may still have G's blood and DNA on it, and provided photos that show the assumed blood and mess inside a bathroom to prove that this wasn't a drive-by shooting. Lil Rod suffers from PTSD, severe anxiety, depression, and insomnia from this event, as the gunshot was so close to where he was sitting that he thought it likely that he himself was about to get hit. So there is photos of this blood in the bathroom and everything.
Yeah.
And definitely doesn't seem like a drive-by.
Unless the drive-by was by the bathroom. Yeah, I don't think so.
While living with Diddy, Lil Rod says he was the victim of constant and unsolicited groping and sexual harassment by Diddy. He was also forced into working in environments like Diddy's bathroom, where he would walk around naked. Lil Rod expressed his discomfort to Christina Karam, who was chief of staff to Diddy. She responded with, "You know, Sean will be Sean." What the fuck?
How was this made? Just what was the absurd lengths they went to be like, it's just dudes being dudes, all right? Get your pants off. I've got some Astroglide.
She was fucking chief of staff. Like, she earned that position.
And walk around naked, grope everyone. Yeah, it's just, hey, that's just quirky old Sean.
Yeah, maybe you should talk to someone about that instead of perpetuating and accepting it.
She also attempted to downplay the groping as friendly horseplay.
That's even worse than Sean will be Sean.
What are you getting so upset about, Lil Rod? It's just he diddling your balls. What, you don't do that with your other friends?
And she slaps his ass. It's like just the worst working environment.
Lil Rod also believes that Diddy was grooming him to pass along to his friend Cuba Gooding Jr. They met on Diddy's boat, and Diddy left Cuba and Lil Rod together in a makeshift studio on the yacht. Cuba then began groping and touching Lil Rod, who felt extremely uncomfortable in this situation. Apparently, Cuba did not stop until Lil Rod actually pushed them away. Lil Rod says that he was often forced to solicit sex workers. Diddy would also want him to perform sex acts at his pleasure. Another incident on Thanksgiving saw Diddy asking Lil Rod to solicit sex workers from Booby Trap on the river in Miami.
Shout out.
Did he actually provide?
I think it's Booby Trap on the river.
Oh, that's the whole name of it?
I think so. Like, is there only one river
Booby
in
Trap
Miami?
on the river?
Yeah, I think.
I have no idea. I've never heard of that.
You've never been?
But anyway, Diddy provided Lil Rod with a bad boy baseball cap and forced him to wear it at the venue. It was a signal to sex workers that Diddy was in town and Lil Rod has been sent by him. Oh my god. They have their own code.
Diddy's
That's like a sock on the door. Lil Rod did not want to do this, but was intimidated by Diddy and felt forced to. He felt Diddy had some level of power and influence over him. In February 2023, Diddy compelled Lil Rod to bring sex workers back to his home. Here, Lil Rod believes that he was drugged by Diddy. He woke up naked and confused in bed with 2 sex workers and Diddy. He recalls wandering around the house naked aimlessly.
Fucking
Bro,
Christ.
what the heck?
Yeah, he also details that Diddy hosted a listening party at his home in July of 2023, and the party consisted of his son Justin, a redacted R&B artist, sex workers, and underage girls. Apparently, at least 5 of the girls were under the age of 16, and Diddy forced all of the women to drink DeLeon liquor laced with what Lil Rod believes was ecstasy. No IDs were checked at this party, and Lil Rod says he felt uncomfortable and attempted to leave, but Diddy forced him to stay. Lil Rod says that there were many people of power that attended these sponsored events and listening parties at Diddy's home that should or would have known that the underage girls were present. Apparently, there were specific bottles of alcohol that were only for females and certain bottles only for himself, staff, and friends. That is fucking abominable.
Yeah, it's one of the worst allegations so far. Because if this is happening, I mean, it has to happen frequently, right? It's just, there's so many people involved.
He's got his own code language, so this is definitely frequent.
Oh, yeah, true. Like the baseball cap.
Lil Rod also witnessed Christina Karam order all assistants to keep Diddy high off gummies and pills and made everyone from butlers to housekeepers walk around with packs filled with multiple types of drugs, so it was readily available if he asked.
Has he ever been sober? Like, what
It
the
doesn't
fuck?
sound like it. She made Lil Rod carry around a drug pouch on multiple occasions. Another shocking allegation made in this lawsuit was that Diddy has hidden cameras in every room
There
in
we
his
go.
house, which I 100%
Yeah,
believe.
yep.
So my guess is that Stevie J video came from one of Diddy's listening parties where he started doing whatever
100%.
was on that video that he secretly
He's clearly
recorded.
got like a bunch of footage of all these powerful people, and that's probably why Stevie J went to bat for him against Lil Rod.
So Lil Rod believes that Diddy has incriminating videos of important celebrities, music label executives, politicians, and athletes without their knowledge and in compromising acts.
So anyway, the quote from this is, "I have never seen any lawyer in any pleading in any court accuse people and companies of criminal conduct without the slightest basis, and then try to file an amended pleading completely jettisoning every allegation underpinning the original claims and substituting completely different and can someone pronounce that for me?
Irreconcilable.
Thank you. Allegations to support the very same claims." So that's from Universal Media Group's or Music Group's lawyer representation. So they're claiming that because the lawsuit was amended, this is clear, irrefutable proof that some tomfoolery is going on and such. So I don't know if that. I mean, there's fucking photo evidence and apparently hours and hours and hours of footage evidence of all the stuff that Lil Rod is talking about here. I mean, throughout the document, I've got the pictures here. So it doesn't seem like it's just made up to me.
Plus, there's a history that you can pull from the other lawsuits and the other victims of Diddy.
So many people talk about it. And that brings us to the next thing, which is something that happened very recently. So on Monday, the 25th of March, 2024, authorities from the US Department of Homeland Security conducted raids on Combs' 2 residences situated in Miami and Los Angeles as part of a federal investigation into sex trafficking. So they clearly had information
If the lawsuits corroborate an unrelated Homeland Security investigation of sex trafficking, that they think the federal government thinks it's worth it to raid 2 of his houses at the same time.
Yeah, shit's not looking good for PD. Like,
not looking good. Yeah.
We didn't even really touch on sex trafficking in the allegations. Like, I don't think that this investigation by Homeland Security has even been spurred on by the allegations themselves.
No, it hasn't, because sure, it can be implied, like maybe sex trafficking was happening with some of the underage prostitutes and stuff like that, but like it's not like a few celebrities filing lawsuits made Homeland Security decide to do this. They've been doing their own investigation for a while.
Yeah,
that now everything's coming to light at once. So
if their determination is that they need to execute a search warrant for an investigation into sex trafficking on 2 residences owned by this guy, that is, they've found something that led them to a search warrant being justified, which is pretty concerning. And also speaks to something much larger here.
Validates the lawsuits as well.
Also, he was not at either of these residences because allegedly he had received some kind of tip that this was going to happen. So this is when like the fleeing allegations came out where he had run away. So he had abandoned both of these properties. He was well aware this was on its way. So he took preemptive measures to get out and potentially hide damning things. Yeah,
that's definitely a possibility. He definitely wasn't at the residences when this occurred, so it's likely that he was tipped off. That's good. If there's something there, which I assume there is, they would have found it.
Well, I don't think there would be, since he clearly knew this was coming. I imagine he got everything out that would be a problem.
Yeah, maybe. Man, I hope not, man. Fuck. Additionally, it has been reported that Homeland Security confiscated hard drives during the operation. But it doesn't stop there. I wanted to end this one on another little anecdote, which is Diddy's relationship with minor artists, so artists who are minors at the time.
Due to the allegations of professional malpractice, a new wave of scrutiny was washed over all of the previous relationships Diddy had with minors. As such, a creepy video of Diddy interacting with 15-year-old Justin Bieber resurfaced, where Bieber was said to be spending the next 48 hours with Diddy. Quote, "He's having 48 hours with Diddy."
This is Diddy talking, by the way. I should specify.
Oh, Diddy says he's having 48 hours.
Yeah,
with
he referred
Diddy.
to himself in the third person.
Gosh. Were we hanging out and what we're doing, we really can't disclose. Oh no, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. Diddy, then 40-year-old, says in the video. He would continue by saying, quote, "He's signed to Usher, and I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album," after implying that he's been given custody of Bieber for 48 hours.
Gross.
Oh, in another video taken months after, Diddy confronts Bieber about not returning his calls.
Have you guys seen that video of like the awkward confrontation between Diddy and Bieber?
Where
It's
Bieber
like,
looks super uncomfortable. Yeah.
He's like, I don't know, man, or whatever. He's just kind of like dismissing it, but like Diddy genuinely seems upset that he can't get in contact with Bieber.
Oh gosh, this is so sick.
That's so fucking weird. He's having 48 hours with Diddy, where we're hanging out, what we're doing can't disclose, but it's a 15-year-old's dream.
I don't like it
so
here.
Creepy.
Was a resurfaced Howard Stern interview with Usher from 2016, where Usher, who was closely tied to Diddy when he was a minor, admitted that he saw some, quote, very curious things that occurred at Diddy's New York mansion. Usher was sent to live with Diddy for an entire year, hence the legal guardianship referred earlier, when Usher was just 14 years old.
Why is Diddy? What is happening with his parents? Why are they just sending children to live with Diddy for like?
Well, you hear stories all the time about like, you know, parents would let it happen because they thought it would help the chances at fame or something like that.
Yeah, but this is they're acting like it's a medieval kingdom. Like they're sending their children as like wards of Diddy. It's so strange. Like, here's your new squire, Diddy. It's Usher. Like, it's so strange. How would this help? How would this help, like, launch a career? You can still work with him without, like, having to live with him.
All right.
I just don't understand how that even happens in the first place.
I don't understand the reason for it.
When Stern followed up by asking if Usher would send his own kids to Puffy Flavor Camp, which is what Diddy called his mentorship program, Usher quickly said, "Hell no. Puffy Flavor Camp?"
What the fuck?
He would have kids come live with him and said it was Puffy Flavor Camp.
He's the king of branding. Like, what? I don't know, man.
This is so out in the open. I feel like this is one of those cases where when the dust settles and he's in jail for, you know, life within the next couple of years, people will look back at this moment and be like, how the fuck did people not know? How did no one see? Like, this was all right in their face.
That's the troubling thing. People knew.
Like,
I mean, right there, though. Like, this is an example of a celebrity knowing something's wrong and not doing a single thing about it. Like, Usher's like, fuck no, I wouldn't send my kid to Puffy Flavor Camp. I know what happens at Puffy Flavor Camp.
Yeah.
Well, if you know it, you wouldn't send your kid there. Do something about it. Be a good human being.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Everyone just stays shut up constantly.
Because they're afraid. They're afraid of Diddy and his Puffy Flavor Camp. Usher would go on to say, and this is before about when he was living there. Usher would go on to say, "I got a chance to see some things. I don't know if I could indulge and even understand what I was looking at. It was pretty wild. It was crazy. There were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it. We can't know with guaranteed certainty the validity of the multiple claims of the lawsuits, but there does appear." I mean, it's undeniable. There does appear to be a troubling and problematic history of abusive behavior and, frankly, just shocking activity by Diddy that seems to be overwhelmingly illegal and also overwhelmingly covered up by an industry that seems to have a habit of turning a blind eye if it means career security and progression. I don't think any of us disagree with that statement, right?
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't disagree. Like I said, I think he's guilty on pretty much everything he's accused of. There's too much evidence, too many similar stories from so many different people. I think that he is guilty.
I'm like